Immunology. The immune system's primary function is to prevent or limit infections, fungi, and parasites, such as protozoa and worms. The first line of defense against microorganisms are the skin layers and mucous membranes. If microorganisms breach this line and enter the body, then the immune system's innate arm, second line of defense, can destroy the invaders. Due to the biological design of these components, they act immediately upon entry of the microorganisms. The adaptive, acquired, arm of the immune system provides extra protection, but it takes several days for this arm to fully function. Cell-mediated immunity and antibody-mediated, humoral, immunity are two elements of the human body's reaction to infection and disease. Major components of the immune system are antibody-mediated, humoral, immunity. This is our central defense against bacteria such as Staphylococci and Streptococci. Antibodies also neutralize toxins such as tetanus toxin and viruses and hepatitis B virus. Cell-mediated immunity. There are two distinct components. 1. Helper T cells and macrophages are our central defense against intracellular bacteria such as M. tuberculosis, and fungi, and Histoplasma capsulatum. 2. Cytotoxic T cells are an essential defense against viruses and act by destroying virus-infected cells. Immune response. Antibodies and cell-mediated immunity are both highly selective when identifying the invading organism. These host defenses can be separated into three main activities. The recognition of a foreign organism by unique immune cells. The activation of these immune cells in order to generate a specific response, example, antibodies. The response targets the organism for destruction. Antigen and antibody. The presence of blood group antigens is common on surfaces of red blood cells and ignored by our immune system. However, foreign antigens of another blood type will be swiftly identified and attacked by antibodies. Antibodies are produced by white blood cells and used by the immune system to identify and attack foreign substances in the body. The body's immune system consists of white blood cells, proteins, and chemicals, such as antibodies, complement proteins, interferon. Some of these directly attack foreign substances in the body, and others work together to help the immune system cells. Lymphocytes are a type of white blood cell and are categorized as being B or T-type lymphocytes. B lymphocytes. Cells that produce antibodies. Antibodies attach to a specific antigen and make it easier for the immune cells to destroy the antigen. T lymphocytes. Cells that attack antigens directly and help control the immune response. They also release chemicals, known as cytokines, which regulate the entire immune response. An inadequate immune response allows certain conditions to develop, such as allergy or hypersensitivity, anaphylaxis, a life-threatening allergic reaction, autoimmune disorders, graft versus host disease, a complication of a bone marrow transplant, immunodeficiency disorders, serum sickness, transplant rejection. Antibody synthesis typically involves the combination of three cells: antigen-presenting cells, helper T cells, B cells. After processing by an antigen-presenting cell, fragments of antigen appear on that cell surface in association with class II MHC proteins. The antigen, class II MHC protein, is a receptor on the surface of a helper T cell specific for that antigen. This activates the helper T cells to produce interleukins, which prompt the B cell to produce antibodies specific to that antigen. The activated B cell proliferates and differentiates to form many plasma cells that secrete large amounts of immunoglobulins, antibodies. Although antibody formation usually involves helper T cells, specific antigens, for example, bacterial polysaccharides, can activate B cells directly, without the help of the T cells, and these are known as T cell independent antigens. In this T cell autonomous response, only immunoglobulins are produced by B cells. Ig is often used as an abbreviation for immunoglobulins, and there are a few that are visible: IgE, IgA, and IgM. Cells and tissues. The cell is the basic unit of life. Microorganisms such as bacteria, yeast, and amoebae exist as single cells. By contrast, the adult human comprises about 30 trillion cells, mainly organized into collectives called tissues. All the body cells that contain a single organism share the same set of genetic instructions in their nuclei. Nevertheless, the cells are not all identical. Instead, plants and animals are composed of different tissues and specialized cells to carry out a standard function. This specialization occurs because different cell types interpret different parts of the DNA blueprint and make other proteins. Metabolism. The collective term for all of the reactions going on inside a cell is metabolism. All metabolic reactions share some general features. They are universal in that all organisms show remarkable similarity in the primary pathways. They involve relatively few types of a chemical reaction. They are controlled often by modulation of key regulatory enzymes. They are classed within cells. In eukaryotes, different sets of metabolic reactions are carried out in other organelles. They usually involve coenzymes, molecules that are second substrates in several different reactions. The pathways that break particular molecules down are different from those used to synthesize them.